Okay, this is gold bullion, and at the moment we're in a major bull run. The bottom of the market in gold was actually made here, and at the moment we're going up like a rocket. And the so-called reason for it going up is because of the potential Gulf War, which I just mentioned. I don't think it's got anything to do with it whatsoever, and I'll show you basically why. But first of all, I want to explain that things don't always work at 50%, and as I mentioned earlier, it's knowing what will work after 50% if it doesn't work. Now, I'm not going to give you that rule unless you become a client, but just to give you an example of it not working at 50%, the all-time high in gold was made here in 1980. In fact, you're looking at really the entire history of gold. It's a massive chart over a very long period of time, but just showing an example of it not working at 50 was actually here. It got down to 50% in its big bear market run here. Now, it just went straight through it. So the rule is, if it doesn't work at 50, then we have a percentage fall that it should work in the future. But again, I'm going to keep that to myself. The major bottom, as I just said, was made here, and there was a massive rise in the price of gold bullion. It happened in about a month, and it nearly bankrupted a lot of gold producers because they were making more money short in their own gold than they were by actually producing it. And it was a massive rise, and I'll show you the real reason why it went up. But I remember watching one of the financial programs on telly, and gold was around about here. And he went and said basically that the reason the price of gold had gone shooting up was because the British and Russian governments were dumping their gold reserves on the world market. Now, I'll let you think about that one yourself. I mean, that was the real reason. So all he was really doing was he's seen the market go shooting up, and the only bit of fundamental news that he could actually fit in was that the British government and the Russian government were dumping gold on the world market. It sounds like rubbish, doesn't it? What would he have said if the price of gold would have gone shooting down at that stage? He would have said the reason the market's gone shooting down is because the British and Russian governments are dumping gold on the world market. Little bit of politics. When did our beloved Bank of England decide to sell our gold reserves? Right at the bottom of the market? Pretty impressive. Anyway, since then, the market's gone shooting up. And the real reason was this. Now, there was two highs made at the same level. There was one here in about 1984, 1985, and there was a major here made in 1987, and the market went shooting down. So I would take away 50%, they're basically the same level, so I'd take away 50% from this high here, and that would be a point in the future where I'd be looking for resistance. Now again, it's not a prediction. I'm not saying it's ever going to get to 50%, but I'll know if it gets there. So I'm going to take away from that high 50%. Now, you should be able to see that the market fell exactly. Now when I say exactly, it is the exact moment where gold bullion decided to stop and go screaming up. The market then came back down to the level and went screaming back up again. The real reason the market's going up is because it fell 50%. Now, I've said some pretty strange things there. I haven't come to some of these conclusions lightly. I've spent many years investigating it, and I'm now actually totally convinced that everything that was going to happen anyway. So I hope you enjoyed it. Little introduction to Gann. As a client, you get training videos like this trying to teach you some of the techniques of Gann and show you how to find future buying and selling signals. We have some free seminars. If you're interested in coming along, then we'll show you hopefully some things that you'll find quite amazing. Thank you for listening.